now that we finish all the sound treatment, put the foam back in.
All right, you're all set. When you get ready to start moving seats around, or right when we pull the car in, the first thing we do is measure the position of the driver's seat. Take a bunch of measurements between where the seat is and something that is permanently fixed in the car. You don't want to measure to the steering wheel because the steering wheel can go up and down, and sometimes we have to move it in order to get access to these speakers. And you don't want to use the foot pedals because the foot pedals on some cars, they have control switches here that move them that might get bumped. To the firewall is good, to the ceiling, to the area here beneath the steering wheel is a good place to measure. The reason why you want to take those measurements is for, of course, time alignment later on after the fact. Now, even though this isn't getting a DSP, the radio does have it as a feature built into it, and therefore we will be taking advantage of that. Fernando has already measured this, so I'm free to move the seat wherever I want, which means I need to move it forward to see if we have room for this amplifier. When checking space underneath the seat, slide it forward and push the seat all the way down. Meaning if it rises, push it down. Sometimes that doesn't matter, but you just want to check to make sure. In this case, the whole seat is moving down. He had it up pretty high. Slide this guy forward some more. All right, so now it's all the way. Look towards the top. You basically want to see if there's anything that's going to get in the way as it slides back. We use the seat bolts, hold these things in place, get it as far forward as you can, but make sure you have enough room for the wiring. And this one, because the bass knob does stick out, we will be building a kick panel in front of it so that it doesn't get knocked. The more forward we can go with it, the better. Once you get it positioned about where you think it will work, slide the seat back. As you can see, we have plenty of room for the amplifier. The mount we make is only 1/4 of an inch thick. We have plenty of room there. We probably have a good 1 1/4 inches. With that information, take some measurements for our mount to go underneath the seat. Start by getting the width in the two frame rails, which is 18 inches. Measure the inside between them. It's 14 inches. How deep it's gonna be, like 16 inches. We're going to trim out this area here so that it comes back just like this, and then this is open, and that looks like it's going to be a 3-inch inset. Basically have a triangle with two other triangles that come off for underneath the seat rails. Let's head over to the saw and we'll start cutting this thing out. This is the basic shape we were after here. It's gonna sit like this. The back of the seat is here. It'll slide up underneath those frame rails. Let's take it in the car and see what other modifications we have to make to it. It fits in place. What I'd like to do is thin it out. I don't need it to be this wide. I'm gonna make it narrow to where it's inside of these seat rails. Let's take it back over to the saw. And this is the result I was looking for. Tapered it in here, narrowed it out. The same on this side. I've also heated up these two areas here and here. So you can see now I've added in a slit. This will allow the airflow to come underneath the amplifier because there isn't a vent there. And we have the height to do it. Mark the two areas where I need to drill holes. Set the amplifier in place. And we'll do one final slide back just to make sure we're good. Better view of that slit. Plenty of room, no problems.
The last piece of the puzzle for the sound treatment, that will be the fast rings. We're gonna cut it so it's not gonna hit the window every time it rolls up and down. Before you install it, test fit it again. And in this car, most of the cars has the bar in the middle. What I like to do is cut it in half. And the other half, you put it on the bottom. And you want to do the same thing. Grab the speaker adapter. They came with the speakers. And we gotta make sure the holes are matching. Now let's trim the pieces that we're not gonna need. And just like that, everything is done. We're gonna put the door back together. We're done with the front door. Let's move to the back. For the rear door is the same process. Screws in the top, bottom, and on the handle.
This is the speaker that's in the rear doors, it's in the tailgate. There's 4 of these funky 6.5s. The funny part is this doesn't use a neo magnet. It uses a really small normal magnet. It has a power handling of 20 watts. It's a 4 ohm. It's made in Vietnam. And it's 100% some form of plastic. What we're gonna replace them with is these guys right here, the KFC X174. There's a warranty card. Inside there is some brackets, but these brackets will not work on this car. This is good for, according to the back of the box, certain General Motors and Chrysler vehicles. And if you just need a 1/4 inch spacer. Bag of screws and some butyl to hold the grills on. Speaking of grills, it does have a removable grill. These pop out like this. If you were going to be using the grill, this little piece of butyl you put in these little grooves here where these little teeth stick, and then that'll hold this in place. The speaker is a coaxial, has a silk tweeter in the center, and by comparison, a much bigger magnet than what this guy had. The tweeter does run through here. If you were in a situation where you wanted to do biampable full active or anything like that, you can disconnect the tweeter from here and do that. We'll be using 2 pairs of these, so 4 in total. And the brackets we're gonna need are the Metra 82, 81, 48. When compared to the factory speaker, it has a very similar hole pattern, with the exception of it has these 2 little wings right here. These are just broken off. They're for a different mount that this car doesn't have. There's also a little provision here for your wire to come out. Along with the brackets, we're also installing the fast rings with these. So just like in the front door, we will be putting the 3-part fast rings in.
We already have our speaker adapter with foam and the new speaker, foam in the back, foam in the front, just like the factory. We're just gonna install the fast rings on the rear.